Part 6 of my testimony. It's also teen troubles. I'm just continuing it because it's kind of lengthy. When I was 15, I started sacking groceries at the local grocery store. I never skipped school, and I stayed away from any situation that might get me into trouble. My dad would often yell at me for anything he disagreed with, and I would run out of the house and sit under the light pole on the street corner. He would never chase me outside. Either he was too tired or didn't want the neighbors to see. I can't remember all the tension in my family as I grew up throughout the years. My mother set a curfew for me all the time. If I were ever 1 minute late, she would lock the door. She also took my keys away from me. One time I was late by a few minutes. My girlfriend dropped me off and I was locked out. I sat there for a while and I didn't know what to do. I'd beat on the door, but I wasn't allowed into the house. My mother didn't even come to the door, nor did she look out the windows. I ended up leaving with my girlfriend and going to her house. I stayed the night there after I tried to call my house with no one answering. The next day, my mother was furious. She told me I should have stayed in the front yard and slept there. I was grounded again. Later, weeks or months later, my mother was mad that I came home from work late. I explained to her that as soon as I got off, I rode my 10-speed bike straight home. She got mad. She grabbed a huge metal flashlight like a mag light the police officers carry and hit me in the head with it so hard. The batteries flew out of the flashlight and landed across the room. They were double D batteries, or D batteries. When she told me to get out of the house, then she told me to get out of the house and not to come back. I went to a friend's house, but I couldn't stay with him. I went to the house of a girl I worked with. We worked at Domino's Pizza together. I slept in the car they had in their driveway. The car wasn't used much. Her dad was a truck driver and he was gone most of the time. I later heard that I was called in as a runaway. I had the police looking for me. I was scared and I didn't want to go back home. This girl introduced me to some older teenagers and they were druggies. This girl who wasn't my friend decided to run away. She snuck into her parents' room one night and took her dad's credit cards while he was on a job across country. She then went to quite a few ATMs around DFW area, and she withdrew large amounts of cash. One of the guys with us found a driver's license in a parking lot. We used that to get to hotel rooms. We later heard that the DEA was looking for us because the manager at Domino's was a huge drug dealer, and he had hired young kids in other states to sell drugs for him. We had to move hotels frequently. Once we got a phone call from a friend and he said, get out of there quick. They gave me some money, so I told them where you guys are. We grabbed everything as quick as we could, and as we were leaving the room, we heard police cars nearby. We ran and hid behind a dumpster. Police cars skidded into the parking lot and surrounded our room. They busted into the room and found it empty. They used rakes to look for signs of drugs on the floor. We waited until they were too busy to see us, and we left. Anyway, after being on the run for many months, and the police was always one step behind us, we started getting bored of each other and wanted others around, so we went to another girl's house. She was a friend of the girl that was with us. We spoke to her and planned on picking her up the next day. When I went into the house to knock on the door, the police pulled up from two different directions. They had helicopters flying over us as well. I started running. I was jumping fences like hurdles almost. I got a few blocks away and I ran between two houses whose fences were up to the roof. I couldn't get over. I was so scared I was caught. The police officers in plain clothes took me back to the house we shouldn't have went to. All sorts of people were there, including my dad. I was threatened with all sorts of crimes. They tried to get me for stealing thousands of dollars from the girl's dad's ATM card. They weren't happy to hear that it was the girl who made all the withdrawals, not me. I was free from any more questions. They didn't find any drugs on us, so they couldn't prove anything. I got caught not because I was not thinking. I was thinking the whole time about how to stay away from the police. I knew the best thing to do was to trick them. I started a rumor that there was a huge drug fest which we were all going to attend, and it was in Oklahoma. I told everyone that we needed to stay right here in the area, right under their noses. I wasn't free from my parents, though. I went home and went into my room where the doorknob was missing off the door. My grandparents were there, too. I told them I was scared that some of the drug dealers I knew were going to come after me. I went to live with my grandparents for a year or so. Lessons learned. When the Lord has a plan for you, whether you are aware of it or not, you will be surrounded by the enemy. The enemy waits until you are weak, and then the enemy says, I can help. Come with me. I went and stayed with a bunch of drug addicts because they were the only help. They were there to help me. At least I thought They were there to help me. Their help would eventually would have led to death. God intervened and we got caught. I got caught because the Lord loves me.